Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, PlatformCon, wherever you're working or listening from today. My name's Antonia Otter, and I am the DAC founder of Women in DevOps, and really excited to be able to speak you through today how we formed an offline diversity-driven community. Yeah, who am I? Antonia, I've had the pleasure of being able to be involved with the Women in DevOps community since 2019. I'll give you a little bit of background information on Women in DevOps shortly, but we have been founded since 2017. But I came in and started building out our DAC community. So, who are and what is Women in DevOps? And I'll give you a little bit of background information to how we came to fruition, the why, and what we do as well. So, a little bit of background information. Women in DevOps was actually founded by Trust in Soda, a community driven recruitment business back in 2017. The reason that we actually came to fruition is because the Trust in Soda team was spending a lot of time at technical events around the world and getting to know all you amazing technical folk. But something that we really notice and we still see all the time to this day is a huge lack of diversity and specifically gender diversity at these events as well. As a business, we were always working with a number of underrepresented folk with their job hunt as well, and we did a little bit of our own research and went to the people that we were working with, asked them why they weren't coming to any events as well. And the main story was they didn't really feel like much of a safe space, weren't seeing people like them on a day-to-day basis. So we knew we had the opportunity to really make a difference here and decided that it was time to really make a community specifically for the DevOps cloud and platform space as well. Just to give you a little bit of insight, there are a number of women in tech communities out there globally. Um, the average amount of women working in tech globally sits around 20%, depending on the location as well. Globally, when we look at the DevOps space, this number is more around 13 to 15% as well. So there is still a very big gap in between genders working in DevOps with cloud as well. We started in London in 2017, making a oh, if we can edit that bit out before. I'm just going to start again now. um, we were actually founded back in London in 2017. That was our first ever meetup, and it literally started as a group of 14 individuals meeting in a bar in London, drinking Prosecco and making marshmallow mountains. And we have absolutely snowballed since then as well. We've got 14,000 members and followers globally as well. We are operating in the UK, Dublin, Germany, Switzerland, and the US across LA and Boston, and continuing to grow that as well. We've got our online Slack page, but a lot of what we love to do is that real in person get together as well. So, this presentation is really going to speak to you about how you go about building an offline community, the steps you can take, what we've learned along the way. So, if anyone's looking to do the same, excited to hear about it. And then the other part I think is worth mentioning about women in DevOps is, although when we were founded back in 2017, we were very much so to represent women in the DevOps and the cloud and the infrastructure spaces. A lot of the work that we do actually really focuses on intersectionality. We're totally all inclusive. Anyone can come to our events. We love advocates and allies joining us and helping build and support the community as well. And we've done a lot of different events on how software engineers may be able to use DevOps best practices, looking at data ops and data pipelines as well, really covering the majority of technology, just with that focus of DevOps as a mindset and agility as well. Perfect. So this slide is just around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. When we speak about community and diversity, we really want to look at all four areas of diversity. Diversity in itself, having a diverse team, doesn't automatically mean inclusion and belonging as well. So I just want to make sure we're all singing from the same hymn sheet as I walk us through this presentation as well. Um, and why innovation? There's been tons and tons and tons of different studies that show having a diverse team means you'll have better decision making, more innovative ideas, better products and services that serve other people as well. It's so important that we get this right. So let's just make our way through this part as well. So, diversity refers to demographics of your workplace, demographics of the people that you work with or you surround yourself with as well. So, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, age, military status or veteran status, nationality, disability, even different skill sets as well. Um, Using a party analogy, which I will speak about a few times through this, um, ensuring that you are diverse is ensuring that everyone from all different walks of life are invited to a party without second thought as well. Equity is something that I think is super important in this day and age as well, and it is very quickly confused with equality. What equity actually means is that we are giving every single person the tools that they need for themselves so they have equal opportunity to achieve equal outcomes as well. So, using the pie example again, if you are someone who is a wheelchair user and you're invited to the party, however, there are no accessibility ramps for you to get in, that is not an equitable situation at all. It's just ensuring that you give your people, your colleagues, all of the tools that they need to have the same opportunity as success as others as well. Um, Inclusion, this is so important, something that I will speak about super often for anyone that knows me as well. There's no point striving for diverse teams if they're not inclusive. Inclusion is just ensuring that everyone on the team and who you surround yourself with is treated fairly and respectfully as well. The Gartner report again shows that inclusive teams have 30% better performance as well. Inclusion in the party scenario is being asked to dance at the party with the rest of the group. And then belonging, which you don't always hear about so often when we talk about DE&IB. Um, Belonging is really centered around ensuring that your colleagues, your friends can be their 100% authentic self and that you as an individual feel like you have the space and the voice so that you can add value as well. So again, this party situation, you've been invited to the party, but the sense of belonging is feeling like that you can make different um please edit that out as well. So the feeling of belonging in this party scenario is even if you've been invited to the party, you feel like you can be your authentic self and that you can make suggestions. Okay, maybe we should bring this food in or that food in as well. It's just ensuring that you can be 100% yourself as well. So how women in DevOps helps to bridge the gender gap. Super simple. It is our mission, and for any of the events that we put on, any of the meetups that we put on, that people come away feeling inspired and that they have learned something as well. We track this data, and our aim is to ensure that we can empower and inspire all underrepresented people across the DevOps and the technological world to be future leaders and have their voices heard. So, getting to the good stuff, how we at Women in DevOps built a sustainable, engaged, and supportive movement and community, both offline and online as well. To give a little bit of background information of why we founded the community, it was purely based on the feedback that we had heard as recruiters from any of the underrepresented people we had worked with as well. It's never been driven by a founder's agenda. It has always been a huge focus on what the community are looking for, how we can add value to the community, what sort of support they need that they might not be getting in their day to day in their workplace as well. As I mentioned, our first ever meetup was such a small handful of people, literally getting together, being able to meet other people that you were not seeing in your workplace, and literally just creating those human connections as well. We've snowballed since then. The feedback from our first ever meetup was incredible. The feeling of being in that room, meeting other people was incredible, and that's how we decided that we wanted to make sure that we were putting on events that were adding value to our community as well. So I really want to speak about what different areas you need to consider when you are building an event and ensuring it is inclusive for all as well. So some of the things that we've had and we do have very often as well might be sign language, um, translators to ensure that all folk can obtain the information as well. Looking at accessibility as well. When we started, we were very much so an in-person meetup, but you have to consider that not all people may be able to travel to a destination. Public transport or driving can be super expensive these days. We are in a cost of living crisis as well. Something that we ensure we do is have our events as hybrid. So if folk aren't in the area, they can still log on and enjoy, but might not be able, even if they might not be able to get there in person as well. We're always providing food and drink. It's so important that you pick up people's dietary requirements before an event as well. Imagine if you have a vegetarian or someone vegan and you have nothing for them to be able to eat, not equitable and not inclusive at all as well. And again, disability access. Do folks need headphones? If they may have hearing issues as well, just ensuring that you're covering all of those areas will ensure that your event is equitable and inclusive. I also want to speak about the difference between global communities. Women in DevOps was founded in the UK. Uh, our first meetup was in a bar. We had lots of fun as well, but you have to consider that when you are scaling a community and you are building a bigger community, actually, where are you hosting the events and what type of refreshments are you offering your folks as well? I know that when we did our first event in Germany, we had quite a lot of alcohol there, which wasn't drunk, which is absolutely fine. But just ensuring that you know the difference between what different communities may look for and doing that research as well is going to be super important. And then the last point I want to mention on this is, you don't need to be an event planner to put on events. We're not event planners as well. Just make sure you are listening to the people that are going to come to your events and going to be part of the community and take their feedback, qualitative and quantitative, on 100% of the time as well. So, onto an exciting slide, which is very much about data and measuring impact. For us at Women in DevOps, it's always been super, super important that we are measuring the impact that we have on the community and ensuring that the work and the events that we are putting on and the workshops are actually adding value as well. And it's important to know when you are building a community, what are your specific goals and objectives and how do you measure them as well. I've mentioned it already. We have two areas that we like to track. One is that someone has learned something. All of these sessions when we get together to learn something new, and gain more knowledge or skills. And then secondly, feeling inspired. As I said, we're a platform for people who may not normally get up in front of a group of people up on the stage to do that, sometimes for the very first time. Absolutely incredible in a safe space as well, being able to feel inspired as an underrepresented person in technology for us is super important as well. So, how you measure that impact and how you analyze that data, very simple for us. We have a QR code, and at the end, you can use your device and say how you felt and give also written feedback for us, what could be done better, and we'd always take that on board as well. Um, the networking that's always done through events as well, ensuring that folk have met other people and asking about that as well. Have you made any new meaningful connections? That's something that we love to track as well. And how you measure growth, and that will really depend on the goals of your community as well, as is having more people join the community, even if they're not necessarily in the DevOps and the cloud and the platform world yet, but looking to get into that space. We all know that there is such a huge gender gap in our world at the moment, and if we can inspire anyone else, whether technical or not, to start exploring that area, that is a huge goal for us as well. And yeah, giving a wider platform to your members community. Are you just doing in-person events? Do you have a Slack page? Do you have async communication channels so people can communicate with one another? How do you go about achieving that? The COVID-19 slides, navigating and learning from the pandemic as a community. So I won't lie, when COVID-19 came in, it was a big shock for us. We were 100% in-person community who had been meeting up and sharing ideas in person. And like most other folk and other communities, we moved to online webinars very quickly as well. Really important for us that we tried to keep the networking that you would get at an in-person event in these webinars. So we did two breakout rooms as well. Um, if you are watching something online, um, the pros of that are you can asyncly ask questions throughout the presentations or the panel discussion, and equally you get a number of different people from all over the globe being able to tune in. The clear negative for us and the community was actually missing that feeling of connection, because we were not able to do the in-person networking after, as people asked questions throughout the presentations, which was really cool because we had that in an async manner. Actually, sometimes it meant at the end of the presentations there weren't as many discussion points as well, and there were also not as many people stayed on for the virtual networking. A lot of feedback was because it was virtual and it wasn't meeting people face to face as well. But the positives that came out of the pandemic from a community perspective are that we absolutely always have our networks, our community events and discussions and workshops as hybrid, which is amazing. Love that, and enables people to log in online if they're not in the area and still get a lot of value, but still has that human connection. And we definitely do have a lot of people coming face to face still as well. It's more equitable. If people can't make it due to financial reasons, they can still tune in and be able to gain from any of the information that is shared during those events as well. And actually, a lot of the feedback that we got from the community during the pandemic was that they were connecting with people more online in between, because they weren't having that human connection they would normally get face to face as well. So that's the end of the presentation. I'm absolutely over time here as well, but it's been a pleasure to be here with PlatformCon. Super excited about everything they're doing as well. Um, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach me. I'm very active on LinkedIn as well. If you need any advice on how to ensure you have got inclusive and equitable processes within hiring, so within interviewing, screening, more than happy to help and give some advice here as well. As you can see, and as I mentioned, being in Women in DevOps is part of Genovo Group and Trust in Soda. It's our mission to build diversity, create inclusion, and encourage workplace innovation. So if anyone needs some advice, do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you. Bye.